Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the AI Monetization Podcast by Project Pro. I'm Binny, the co-founder. As you know, we speak with industry practitioners on what tangible business outcomes they are seeing with GenAI. And among the most tangible impact AI is having right now is on talent development, leadership development, and L&D. Today, we have with us Cherese James. Cherese is a senior manager, talent and leadership development at Compugen. Compugen is Canada's largest IT consulting and services company. Cherese has over 15 years in learning and development, starting as an instruction designer, and then working for Docebo, one of the largest LMS companies, and then more recently helping teams upskill at Compugen. Cherese, thank you for taking time to do this. Welcome to this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, you're welcome. In your experience, Cherese, you've had a very interesting career where you started off spending many years developing content as an instruction designer. And then you worked at an LMS company, Docebo, and then finally now you're on the other side helping learners consume all this content better. What have you kind of seen change over the last few years, when it comes to either leadership development or just broadly skilling?
Yeah, so with leadership development, it used to be very theory heavy and clunky. For example, one of the first programs I delivered was situational leadership, and it was rigid and academic. And today we're no longer just talking about the 70-20-10 approach to learning. 70% learning is most effective when 70% is on the job, 20% through peers, and 10% traditional, for example, in the classroom. We're no longer talking about it, we're living it. So now learning is more well-rounded. It's integrated into the flow of work and deeply rooted in building things like psychological safety, trust, and leading humility and honesty. So it's really about building the foundational capabilities required to lead effectively. For example, in my recent Leading Through Change session, we really emphasized emotional intelligence, adaptability, and transparent communication. We created real-time scenarios and reflection exercises that push leaders to tap into their values. In my coaching course that I recently created, we went further by using a blended learning format. So it was self-paced modules, live sessions, and practical coaching tools to equip leaders with actionable coaching frameworks that felt authentic and scalable. So programs today, they're just more immersive, more relevant, and aligned with the real world complexity leaders face. They're not clunky anymore and it's theory heavy.
That's very helpful, Cherese. For those of us who are kind of uninitiated into L&D, I know you focus on leadership development, you focus on coaching and performance management largely. Could you just help us understand what is different about each of these things? What exactly is coaching, leadership, and performance management? How are they different?
Yeah, so performance management is really based on the goals of the organization, and it is led by the people leader, right? So the goals of the organization come down, the vision and the values, they come down from the executive level. And as a people leader, you have a set of goals that then trickle down to your team, and you are then helping your team achieve their goals through goal setting, and you have to hit certain targets, and it's more scalable that way in that you are looking at achieving specific goals based on the goals of the overall organization, and it's really leader. When it comes to coaching, coaching can be for performance, but it also can be for career development. Coaching is a skill set that is used to ensure efficient performance management and also support career development. That's what coaching is. And then, the other piece that you asked.
I guess you covered leadership development earlier. Yeah, that's the other piece. Okay,
yes.
Makes sense. Okay, interesting. And earlier you spoke about coaching as well. And when you say coaching, are you referring to the more one-on-ones that managers have with their teammates? Is that the coaching you're referring to, or is there a more structured, content-driven coaching initiatives largely that are used?
So when I'm speaking of coaching, I am speaking about, the one-on-one coaching that people leaders do with their team. But
Yeah.
also, I speak to overall coaching programs.
Mhm.
There's an overall approach to coaching, whether it comes for performance or career development.
Mhm.
But I do focus mostly on helping people leaders understand how to effectively coach their
Mhm.
team members. Uh,
Mhm.
to allow their team members to grow and thrive autonomously.
Got it. Got it. And if you take these, three areas that you work on: leadership, coaching, and performance management, as a L&D leader, what would you say keeps you up at night? Like, what are your biggest problems that you face as an L&D leader?
I would say
Hmm.
that one of the biggest things that continues to trend in L&D
Hmm.
is leadership development,
Mm.
uh, and helping leaders to understand that you have grown into a leader because you're good at what you do, but
Mm.
now you have to shift your mindset, because just being good at what you do personally is no longer going to help you grow and help the organization grow. Now you are a people leader, so
Mm.
your success is the success of your team.
Mhm.
So it's shifting that focus from personal development for leaders to helping them understand that they're successful when their team is successful.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, that aspect of leadership development. And also, I'm seeing there's a trend, or an opportunity around people leaders being able to actually provide feedback and
Mhm.
have those difficult conversations. So that's
Mhm.
something else that I wouldn't say really keeps me up at night, but it definitely is a focus. And it's basically helping leaders have that mind shift of going from individual high potential team members to becoming people leaders, and understanding they have to shift to focusing on helping support their team, because their
Mhm.
success is the success of their team. And then
Mhm.
also helping them to understand how to provide feedback and give feedback in a timely manner. There seems to be some sort of anxieties or awkwardness around that. So it's helping them to understand that feedback,
Mhm.
when given appropriately and in a timely manner, is how you're going to help your team grow and develop and become more effective and efficient.
Mhm. Mhm. And as AI, or
So
Gen AI, is coming through, right? What kind of impact are you seeing both in the roles of these leaders and also the kind of new solutions that you're able to give them with AI today?
mhm. So I would say, in terms of how AI is showing up right now,
Hmm.
it's being used as a coaching tool.
Hmm.
Uh, and that's been around for a while.
Hmm.
But one area where I think Gen AI can offer more value, but I've
Hmm.
yet to see it fully explored,
Hmm.
is around leadership competencies and talent identification and succession planning.
Hmm.
So, competencies, leadership competencies, they define what good, better, best looks like in a
Hmm.
leadership.
Hmm.
They're the foundation. But I'm constantly surprised by how many organizations don't have this clearly outlined.
Hmm.
And without a clear picture of what success looks like, how can we help leaders grow or identify future successors?
Hmm.
So earlier in my career, I worked with a consulting group to create competency frameworks and succession planning programs.
Hmm.
It was powerful work, but also incredibly tedious and
I
manual.
see. I see.
Yeah,
Mhm.
not to mention that the 9 box process can be ripe with bias.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
this is where Gen AI can really shine,
Mhm.
uh, automating and augmenting these processes to make them more efficient, less
Mhm,
biased, and more
mhm,
consistent across the board. So
mhm,
I really believe we should be leaning into AI to streamline this foundational work because
mhm,
when we get the basics right, everything else, like coaching, feedback, development, it all
mhm.
becomes more effective.
Makes sense. That's well said. And Cherese, one of the things that everybody's hopeful with AI, and which is also has been kind of the holy grail of learning, is the whole concept of adaptive personalization. Now, you yourself have done a bunch of work on personalized coaching and personalized, training, right? I'm trying to understand what are the fundamental problems in personalization today that you think AI can actually fix? Do you think the value that AI brings to personalization is so large that it's going to make a significant impact, or do you think we have lots of good capabilities with personalization when it comes to learning?
Hmm. That's a good question. So when I think about AI and learning, it 100% can help us grow, help
Definitely.
us have personalized learning paths,
Mhm,
uh, and yeah, for learners.
mhm,
Uh, done a lot. I've led programs that spanned North America, Europe, and
mhm,
Australia.
mhm,
And one of the biggest challenges is maintaining consistency without losing cultural relevance.
mhm,
In my coaching program that I more recently created, for example, we used AI driven feedback tools to analyze participant input from different regions. And this
mhm,
allowed us to spot trends in needs, learning preferences, and engagement levels. We
mhm,
then utilized case studies and coaching simulations to reflect real leadership challenges in each
mhm,
geography.
mhm,
AI also helps us translate content quickly and effectively without
mhm,
sacrificing nuance. But most
mhm.
importantly, we use data to personalize learning journeys. Instead of pushing everyone through the same pathway, we identified where leaders were already strong and where they needed support. So it's not just about scale, it's about precision. When used well, AI lets you customize learning at scale.
Coaching has traditionally been a very human, personal touch kind of methodology, right? Um, do you think with the onset of the AI coach, you think this AI coach is going to act as like a co-pilot to the human coach, or will every employee in a company have their own personal AI coach, which is going to kind of nudge them a little bit here and there? How do you think this will kind of play out?
That's another great question. So, a few years ago, I attended London Tech Week where
Mhm.
I saw a live demo of AI coaching tools.
Mm,
I will say there was a noticeable air of speculation in the room.
mm,
The tool had been built using data from a narrow demographic, which raised immediate red flags about inclusivity and bias, which is a real concern because we've seen in the past things like facial recognition technology having
mhm,
that kind of bias.
mhm,
So I asked how they would accommodate cultural differences, and the answer was kind of vague, and that
mm,
really stuck with me.
mhm,
So I feel like AI coaching can't replace the human connection.
mhm,
I think about one-on-one coaching sessions I've led where leaders have opened up about imposter syndrome, the need to be perfect, sometimes even shedding tears. And that level of intimacy, it just doesn't exist in AI.
mhm.
AI, it speaks at you, not with you. So that said, there is a place for AI in coaching. It can surface reflection questions. It can summarize coaching notes. It can track goals and accountability markers. I'll even say in some industries, for example, sales, they're having a AI as a sales coach that may be relevant as well.
Mhm.
But overall, it's a great supplement. But human connection and empathy, they're irreplaceable.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And we're living through this AI hype cycle where wherever we turn, there's a lot of hype about AI. But from
Mhm.
your point of view, uh, in L&D, are there lots of places where the hype on AI is just not delivering, and you're wondering what is this all about? I'm not really seeing any practical applications of this in my field. Is that happening, or is it actually delivering on its promise for you?
I'd say it. is delivering on its promise for me. I think for AI, what you need to do is we are past that theory stage, right? We can't, if you want AI to work for you, you need to get in there and use it, right? And if that's what you, if companies want to stay at the forefront, that's where they need to be, right? We're talking about future proofing when it comes to shifting towards AI for L&D and talent development. AI gives us time back.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, what do you do if you have more time to be strategic? Because that's what AI enables. So I think of AI as adding a new team member to your department. If AI is taking care of the admin and repetitive tasks, that opens for talent development, learning to development, to learn and to level up, right? It means you have more time to invest in coaching and facilitation, creating truly personalized learning journeys, building out competency models and succession plans, partnering more deeply with the business units to drive change. So I've already seen this in action. I talked about the coaching program that I created, and making it more scalable and human-centric. So, and it starts with one shift. We need to stop seeing AI as a threat and start seeing it as an opportunity to evolve how we lead.
Makes sense. And there's something interesting you said earlier on in the conversation, Cherese, about the whole 70-20-10 framework, right? And again, and I think you mentioned 10% is a theoretical kind of external learning, 70% is kind of on the job, in the flow of work kind of learning, right? Now, from where I sit, and I might be mistaken here, it seems to me that most of the commercial solutions that we know of come in the whole 10% external learning bit. Could you talk a little more about what is happening in that 70% bucket? How is that being achieved today inside companies in the flow of work learning?
Yeah, so on the floor learning is more about it sounds old school, but it is the most impactful. It's about having the opportunities and this is where people leadership comes in, right? As a people leader, you're here to manage, coach, and lead your team. And those are three different things, right? Manage is more the day-to-day admin piece. Coaching is coaching for performance to ensure that they're achieving the company goals, but also for career development. And leadership is ensuring that your team is on board with your vision, which is also the vision of the organization. So we go to that, coaching bucket for performance and career development. This is where you have things like job shadowing, right? This is, what we're seeing is you're learning on the job, you're job shadowing, which is also that 20% of learning from peers. And it's about hands-on. And that's really what's happening right now. And it's interesting that you asked that around that 70%, because that kind of leads me into how talent development, L&D, and organizations overall need to be leaning into AI. And how we need to be leaning into it, as I said, by using it, right? It starts with asking, where can I start leveraging AI to create efficiencies? I've seen this theme where people have asked, can you provide content or training courses on AI? And there's tons of content out there.
Right.
What you need to do is you need to take that content. You need to be curious, right? You need to take that content and you have access to the tools and start to leverage them. We need that hands-on for AI. So L&D, you need to start asking, how can I use AI to create efficiency? You don't need to be a tech expert, but you do need to experiment. You need to, with curriculum design, building learning, creating competency models. AI can support each step of the process, then get your hands in there. See where it fits, see what works and what doesn't work. This can take away from the power of facilitation, coaching, or storytelling, Those are all still core.
Mm-hmm.
But for L&D and talent development professionals, we have to double down on being curious, experimentation, and being proactive. Right now, I'm fortunate to be in an organization where AI isn't taboo. It's encouraged. And that's what we need across the board, because AI isn't a secret weapon. It should be a shared tool that we all learn from and with.
Yeah, makes sense. Very, very well articulated. Just in preparing for this podcast earlier today, I was reading this Accenture report where they did this large survey and they came back and said 61% of all North American job roles will need to be reskilled in the next like 36 months or something. Number one, does that sound right to you? Number two, if that were right, what would be the top 2 or 3 job roles that is going to need significant reskilling because of AI, according to you?
Just specifically in talent development or overall?
Overall, just overall, yeah.
I think, as I said, I feel that AI is a support tool. I look at AI in the future as being a new team member, right? Think of AI as a new team member. It's not perfect. You still have to code it. You still have to manage it and give it feedback. It learns you over time. It gets better or it learns what great looks like to you. So in reality, it's another set of hands. It helps you faster and smarter, but it doesn't replace the strategic thinking. It doesn't replace empathy and leadership humans bring to the table. So I feel like in terms of where we're headed, if you're a people leader or if you're not a people leader, think about new jobs as people who not only maybe manage people. So I guess to answer your question, I'm still focused on that people leadership aspect. It will have to shift because think job is also managing AI. Giving the right inputs and boundaries so it works in service of your team's goals. And I feel that that's the direction we're headed. So when we're talking about where we need to focus, we definitely need to focus on leadership. We need to focus on having people within the organization who do have that technical background in order to understand how to best manipulate, leverage AI so that it will be able to support company goals. But also I just have to say, when we talk about cybersecurity and privacy, that's huge, because that is one of the reasons why a lot of organizations are not embracing AI. My brother works in insurance, and he cannot leverage AI because what he's working with, it's too confidential. So I would like for us, and we will get to a place where we can leverage it across all industries, but privacy and security. So I'd say people leaders, leadership in general, that shift in mindset, security, privacy and security. We need to up that if we want to be able to leverage AI efficiently and effectively across all industries. And we do need people who understand AI on a deeper level. So we still need that tech understanding.
Makes sense. I have a couple of questions, regarding the time you spent as instruction designer at Lowe's and right, which is, instruction designers typically use Articulate and Adobe Captivate and tools like that. It takes a while to put together a lot of those e-learning modules. Do you think GenAI would significantly cut short that time and really help instruction designers make super fast output?
100%. Like I said, I went to the London Tech Week. That was a few years back, and an organization that I was with at the time, learning management system development and all that. We actually demoed what it would be to actually leverage, the learning development system, but in with AI, and how fast you can actually, start to develop content. So 100%, it works to that efficiency. But what I will say, it can bring output for you, but
Yeah.
it doesn't take away the human aspect.
Yeah.
It can be so much faster, but then
Yeah.
you still need to look at what you're putting out there. And I think that's one of the things that people need to understand.
Mhm.
And just to digress a little bit, when we talk about AI in general and leveraging
Yeah.
it, I think we need to get to a place where people understand that you can't just input anything into AI, take that output and run with it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, personally, and I'm sure maybe you've seen it too, even communication, you can tell when someone has just leveraged AI without any coaching,
Yeah.
without any, you know, without any edits to
Mhm.
communicate.
Sure.
All right. And
Very true. Yeah.
I'll see that even, you know, as I go to the larger talent development and, you know, even larger HR when it comes to recruiting and things like that. You know, there's controversy around using AI for recruitment. It's not that field is not my specialty, so I'm not going to get into that too deep. But I will say that I have seen, you know, where people have leveraged AI on the other side, you know, potential employees to, you know, generate resumes and things like that, which I do not have a problem with. But what you need to make sure is that if you're doing that, it has to still have to edit it. It has to be specific to you. You have to be able to speak to it. It has to be accurate content because what's happening is people are generating things like resumes and things like that, and they're getting through the door, but then they cannot speak to anything, and it becomes very relevant that they don't have that experience. So I think that's, you know, as being an HR, you know, talent development professional, that would be my cautionary tale. You know, leverage it, but leverage it the right way because, you know, eventually, if you're not leveraging it the right way, it will be evident.
Yeah. No, I think you make a very powerful and a pretty profound observation there, which is in a world where everybody has access to intelligence through ChatGPT, what is different from one person to the other? And what is different is that uniqueness they bring to the table, which AI really can't replicate. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And once again, since you have this interesting career from instruction designer to LMS to talent development, my next question is this, which is, we are currently in a world where uh, content is in a way static. Content is made by either third-party vendors or education companies or instruction design teams. That content is loaded into LMS platforms and employees consume it. In a world where Gen AI could personalize and it could instantly generate content, we are not there yet. We'll probably get there pretty soon. In a world like that, do you think content, the whole concept of a traditional LMS will go away and content will be generated at the end point, at the point of consumption near the employee and not by a centralized team? Do you think we'll get there soon? How will the transition happen?
I think we will get there.
Mhm.
How fast we get there definitely depends on shifts in mindsets.
Yeah.
There's always that struggle of, you know, this is
Mhm.
how we've always done it.
Yeah.
Once again, an excellent question.
Mhm.
When I think about how we leverage, you know, learning management systems,
Mhm.
it is an additional step uh, in order to ensure that we can track, that we have, that we're gathering specific information and insight. But we've seen that AI can do this for us. Um, it's just not as stable yet, right?
Right. Exactly.
We need to be able to get to that place where we trust that AI is stable enough that we can leverage it um, to output learning directly to people's you know, directly to learners via their mobiles or their laptop or their desktop, but still be able to track. If we can do that, and I think we can get there, but there's the people aspect and the technology aspect, and obviously the technological aspect is going to be faster than that shift in mindset of people.
Sure.
But if we can do that, it once again helps us as an industry, learning and development, talent development, it helps us level up because
Yeah.
there's so many things that we would like to do and get out to the organization, but we still have to have a lot of rigid steps to get there, right? Before we can launch training, before we can, ensure we get that feedback.
Yeah.
So yes, I definitely see us getting there. The technology for sure. Privacy is still an issue. We need to work on that, privacy and security. But then also that human shift, that human mindset needs to catch up.
That's a great point. Just because the technology can do it doesn't mean people will want to do it.
100%. There are a lot of things that AI can do for the industry, for talent development, for learning development. That's why I emphasized try. See what works for you. That's the way we're going to learn. We're in talent development, learning development. Continuous learning is huge for us. We understand that hands-on learning is the best approach. So we have to be curious, keep experimenting.
Yeah. And what does success look like to you once you have kind of rolled out AI-empowered solutions?
Yeah. So for me, success means AI is freeing up time so leaders can focus on what really matters. As I said, as a leader, your job isn't just management, right? That's the mundane everyday things. You coach, you inspire, you ensure alignment with the organization's mission and values. But what I've seen far too often is leaders that get bogged down with the administrative tasks. They don't have time to lead. They can't coach their teams or invest in development. And AI helps fix this. It takes on tedious but essential tasks like note-taking, following up, reminders, meeting summaries, documents. It becomes an extension of your team. That way, we can focus on strategic thinking, growing high potential talent, and building strong, motivated team. So that's what success looks like to me. AI is not replacing leadership, it's creating the space for better leadership.
It's a very interesting point that you made. While you were saying that, one thought that came to my mind, Cherese, was that as and correct me if I'm wrong, which is as humans, it seems to me that we are perfectly happy staring at a screen doing nitty-gritty work, but we don't want to spend time thinking and spend time with human emotions and managing people and conflict resolution and things like that. Do you think if AI takes away the drudgery of the work, people will actually do all of these other soft skills kind of leadership that you're talking about? Will that happen? Or
yes, I think two things. I think it's easier. You're right. It's easier to sit at the computer and look at it. And I think people get bogged down in the mundane things. It's not necessarily that that's what they prefer to do. Right. It's just, it's easier to say, I need to finish this task and get it done versus I need to have this conversation. Right.
Yeah.
So, there's more of an awkwardness. That's why I talk, leaders providing feedback. There is that hesitation around having those conversations. But in my experience with, having these sessions, these workshops, these coaching, one-on-one sessions with leaders, with people to talk to them about how they can approach difficult conversations, how they can be honest and build trust. People are open.
Yeah.
But we need to build that foundation around psych safety and build up trust as talent development so that leaders and people can grow in that way. They are open to it, but it's our responsibility to build that foundation so that they can thrive in those aspects of work, right? Free time so they can thrive in those aspects of work. There's a lot of, once again, it's about mind shift. It's about a cultural shift too. It's going from obviously sales in a lot of organizations. That's what's important, right? But people are the most important. The people are most important because they're the one who are doing the selling for you. So how are you treating your people? What environment are you putting your people in so that they can thrive, so that they can be high performers? That's where that mind shift needs to happen. So it can happen with AI, but once again, I guess my answer is saying that yes, it can happen with AI, but you can never take it with that people aspect.
Yeah.
AI will be there to do those mundane tasks. Now you have more time at a higher level, at the executive level, to think about how, now that we have this in place, how are we going to make this to our advantage? And one of the first steps is by cultural shift, mindset shift, building that trust, building that foundation that people can now step into thinking bigger and moving.
Right. People first makes a lot of sense. The other thing I was thinking again in advance of our session today was that you were there when the internet was kind of democratizing education inside enterprises, 2010, 11, 12 onwards, roughly. Do you think the AI opportunity is similar, much larger, lesser? If it's much larger, in what axis, in what ways do you think it's larger or different from the way the internet and the cloud kind of revolutionized learning, if it did?
I would say it's different, it's a different type of tool. It's the next step in evolution, right? So like the internet was there to gather all the insights, a place where you can gather, like if I'm speaking from talent development, learning development perspective, it was a place where you can now go to gather insights that were already out there. Now they're digitized, and it was a place where you can now house your learning, so it's more scalable. You can reach more people. I see AI as taking it to the next level. Is okay, now you have it's like you asked the question about LMS, and do I think that learning management systems will go away? We're capable of having an LMS because of that era,
Exactly.
That's what it allowed us to have.
True. Exactly.
So we evolve, it's different. It is the next step. So many times, I've been in situations, developing e-learning programs, and I've talked to companies that, help you to have like learning on your phone. You can do it, but still kind of clunky, but AI will take us to that level where we don't need to have LMSs. As you suggested, it will take us to that level. It's not only helping, people level up from, having the knowledge of everything that you can find on the internet, right? But it's helping people level up in terms of how they actually think, right? Because I can have a brilliant idea and I can outline it and I can run it by AI and it's going to clarify things for me in a way that maybe I wasn't seeing, as I was developing, designing, training, or learning. It's a tool that helps you learn as well. Once you have that feedback from AI, like here's the outline, what do you think? Once you have that feedback from AI, it helps you to grow as well, right? So it's helping us to grow in how, not only like how we deliver training and things like that, but how we think about it. Right. That it's definitely the next step in helping people level up when it comes to performance, how people perform. And that's something that a few weeks ago I went to a tech summit at the Microsoft head office in Toronto. And there was a bit of a discussion around AI and performance. Do people who use AI have an advantage, like an unfair advantage over people who do not? I don't think so. It is a tool, just like, as you said, the internet is a tool. We get on board and we learn from that. Our ideas and our thoughts are still our own. You can leverage AI and coach it. The people who will thrive in this next, evolution with AI are those
Mhm.
people who can actually lead,
Mhm.
who are actually people leaders. Because if you can coach people, if you can successfully coach people and leverage their skill sets and help them
Mhm.
develop, you can leverage AI, because that's what we're
Mhm.
doing. It
Mhm.
is another team member.
Mhm.
So that's I don't think it's taking away from performance. I don't think it's cheating, because as I said, if you're using AI and you don't know
Mhm.
what you're talking about and you don't
Mhm.
know how to leverage it,
Yeah.
we're gonna realize.
Yeah.
So it's not an unfair advantage. It's just staying up with the times and catching up with the tool. And the more that you know how to leverage it, it's taking your thoughts and helping you along. It's like, for example, we do, sometimes people do peer reviews. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I've put this together. Tell me what you
Mhm.
think,
Mhm.
right? And then you get that insight and you're like, that's a great idea. You know what? I
Mhm.
like that. I'm going to change it that way. That's what
Mhm.
AI can do you as well. So
Right.
we'll level performance, not
Mhm.
in a way that's, unethical,
Mhm.
because people will know if you're just, copy pasting. It will
Right.
level up your performance, and it will also help with, as we talked about, learning paths and making things more personalized when it comes to learning, and hopefully eventually even making things less clunky when it comes to delivering e-learning and things like that. It will definitely
Mhm.
make e-learning more efficient, which is
Mhm.
already doing in terms
Mhm.
of development. So
Mhm.
these are the things. It's an evolution. It's different,
Yeah.
but also a step up, and it's going to evolve not only just how we gather content and how we learn, but it's going to help with performance in a
Yeah.
way that the internet could not.
Good not. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you, Cherese. This has been fantastic. On that note, really appreciate you taking time to do this. Looking forward to, staying in touch and connecting with you as the AI journey progresses.
Thank you so much for having me. I really loved having this conversation. So yes, definitely stay connected.